Microdose, yeah. Microdose, 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 dose. Microdose, microdose, dose. Microdose, microdose, dose.
What's good, y'all? Happy New Year. Kush Ace here, coming to you last microdose of the year. Microdose number 146. Kind of incredible. This was a long and bizarre year, and we started the year off with 100. I was hoping we'd be on episode 152 right now, but life got in the way. But thankfully, it only got in the way that many times. So, let's get right to it. I got a guest, one of my favorite guests. He's also the co-host of the original Waffle Box. You accept no substitutions because it is the best part of Wednesdays. His name is only Mike Fish. Mike Fish, what's good, yo? Happy New Year.
Hello. Happy New Year. How you doing?
I know I'm doing all right, man. I mean, it's still 2022, so we'll be saying Happy New Year again next week, but yeah, man, where does the time fucking go, dude? I know everyone always says that, but it literally, dude, just yesterday, you and I did a show where I had COVID. Do you remember that? Like that doesn't feel like a year ago. That feels like half a month ago. That shit was crazy. Did you end up staying COVID free this year, or did you caught something, didn't you?
I got the vid. I got the vid when I went back to jolly old England.
That's right.
That trip was less than jolly. It was luckily it was like the day before. I was due to fly back to the States, and then I tested positive, and I felt like death warmed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up extending my trip, even though legally I could have got on the plane, but I felt horrible. So I didn't want to do the whole travel to the airport, have to check in, go through security, wait for the plane, sit on the plane for 9 hours. I couldn't do it. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm pushing my flight back.
I mean, it was, if you had to catch the COVID in the United Kingdom, the best case scenario, you're with family. So,
indeed. However,
it
was also in the middle of a freak heat wave over in the UK, which so I was all COVIDed up, sitting in a house where it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit and no AC. So that was super fun.
Yikes. Ugh. AC is not a big thing over there. I'm taking it. It's usually a little colder, so you don't need it.
I mean, it's the weather in England's not as bad as the stereotype says, but yeah, it's especially for the older houses where you'd have to pay to get AC installed or a window unit.
Mm-hmm.
And for the probably 2 or 3 days where it actually gets hot enough where you're like, Jesus Christ, I need AC. It's just perhaps not worth the trouble.
Yeah.
So,
same thing over here in San Francisco, especially in this house. This house was made, I want to say it was pre-World War II, but I don't think the Americans were involved in the conflict yet. So that stat still holds up. But it's San Francisco. It's cold 360 days of the year. So, on those 5 days,
what's your cold though, Kush?
Well, today, Alexa is telling me it's 53 degrees currently, but this will drive you crazy because I have 2 fans running right now. So,
53.
Mm-hmm.
53. So this is a little fun little fact because I'm still Anglophile, and I've been living in America for over 6 years now. Still don't understand how Fahrenheit works. Like I know the numbers, and I know roughly what is freezing. I think that's like 32. And I know like above 80 is pretty hot, but it still doesn't compute in my brain. So I can have conversations with my American friends and family, I have 2 weather apps on my phone. One set to Celsius, one set to Fahrenheit. So I can keep tabs on how hot it is in my brain with Celsius. But then if I want to have a conversation about it, as just British people love to have a conversation about the weather, I can say, oh, it's so-and-so Fahrenheit, so and so degrees, and people understand me.
Totally understand.
The other day, I opened up the wrong app, thinking it was the Celsius app, but it was the Fahrenheit app. And I was about to pop outside for a cigarette. Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you and it's expensive. but it was like, oh, it's -2 degrees. And I was like, oh, -2 degrees. Well, that's a little cold, but it's not too bad. Until I stepped outside and realized, oh, it's -2 degrees Fahrenheit. It's really cold outside.
Would not -2 degrees Celsius also be really cold, or
Minus, it's. I guess it's all
isn't
depends
freezing
on your,
zero?
if you freezing is 0 degrees Celsius, but I guess it's all to do with if someone from Florida who lives in Florida and born and raised, 0 degrees Celsius would be very cold. But for me, it's just kind of like, oh, it's a little chilly, but I put a sweater on.
Fascinating. Yeah, I don't think I would do well in -2 degrees of either denomination. Yeah. So to give
I much prefer it plus, but
yeah for sure. To give you some sort of sense, so obviously we just discovered that 32 degrees Fahrenheit is the freezing temperature in America.
Fahrenheit.
So last week, the few days before Christmas, it was as cold as 41 degrees here in the house. So we had no fans going on at that point. And it was left definitely like, oh, might want to put another coat on. This is terrible. Might want to actually like layer up more than we already do. And yeah, so just to give you some idea.
My nipples are poking through my t-shirt.
That will happen. That will happen. In some case, your hoodie. So, dude, I think it's probably pretty safe to say COVID was maybe the worst thing that happened to you this year. What was the best thing that happened to you this year?
I don't know. I guess the best thing was getting fake cable in my house. I signed up to YouTube TV because I was basically, between you and me, don't tell the cable companies.
Just be between us here. Just be between us.
Previously, I had a Roku TV and I was signing into all the apps, and then when it says provider login, I was using my in-laws login. So I had all the major networks, but I had to wear separate apps, and I you know what? This is really annoying having to keep going to separate apps, like go into the app, select the program. Oh, I don't like watching that. And then go out to the app, back to the Roku menu, next that. And it's like, no, screw it. So I purchased a subscription to YouTube TV. So
how's that been going?
The old days, it's not bad. It's not bad. You get your live stuff and you can scroll through all the networks and stuff like that. And I discovered this thing, right? Which is very exciting. I'm sure it's been around for a long time, but I've just discovered it myself. Scrolling through the TV, sometimes it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep, so I'm scrolling through the TV. There's a network called Investigation Discovery.
Oh yeah, the Murder Channel.
The Murder Channel. It's hilarious. Now, obviously, it's not hilarious. People have died for the making of these shows, but the production side of it's thoroughly entertaining because it's always so over the top. Like there was one, it was I can't remember because they have so many different shows, but they're all the same show basically. And I think this was called like Snapped or something like that. And the episode title was something like Kill a Neighbor or something like that, or I was killed by my neighbor, or it was something stupid like that. And so I was, oh, well, I'll watch this. And the voiceover guy, he must have a hoot because it's like what is that? Is it CIS where the ginger fella always just goes,
CSI Miami.
Yeah, that guy. If someone gets their head chopped off or something, he's like, I guess he lost his head or something. Where who's that?
Who I'm not.
No, that's
I think it's the Who.
It is the Who. There we go. But yeah, this guy, same. I think it's the same writer because it's like they'd be like, and so he came down to borrow some sugar, but he wanted more than sugar. He wanted his life. And it's like, what?
They are terrible like that. I used to watch a show on the History Channel called Gangland. Now, all the episodes are the exact same, despite the fact that the subjects are all different. So it doesn't matter what gang you're in. You were a minority. You banded together because you're being bullied by a majority. You're probably an immigrant, maybe not. That's not really important. But eventually, you stood up for yourself one day. Someone got killed, and then at some point, someone's like, we can start making money selling drugs. Unless you're FSU who decided to sell T-shirts, but it was the same story. No matter what episode you want, it's always those same plot points of how your gang was created. But they would also use when they weren't reenacting stuff, they were using the worst stock footage, and then transition shots would always be like strobe effect of like a skull, and then someone would go, and they're like, but the story would be interesting because it would it's 1989 and there's been conflict in Cambodia forcing tens of thousands of Cambodians to flee and land in Los Angeles, and then just goes on from there. Surprisingly, they could only get 5 seasons of that show.
Oh, that's not bad.
They covered them all. It was pretty thorough.
We did all the gangs.
All the gangs. They covered all. Some pretty scary stuff, dude. Some pretty scary stuff. There was another show on Netflix called Worst Roommate Ever or something.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
And it's every episode starts with, so I was looking for the roommate on Craigslist. Every episode.
And it was, but they were all about the same guy. That was the funny thing.
Oh.
These 5 different people all had an encounter with this one guy who was just a cunt. Yeah.
What, are you talking about one particular episode or the whole series?
I'm talking about the series, and its 5 episodes are about one guy.
Oh. Maybe I'm looking at a different show then. Maybe it's a different roommate.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's 3 or 4 different versions of it. But this guy would someone desperately needs a roommate, and they're just getting ready to put something on Craigslist, and he just happens to knock on the door, and he's like, I got like $700 cash right now. And they're like, I should do that credit check, but $700 cash is pretty good. Says he's only going to be here for 3 weeks. He stays a lot longer than 3 weeks, by the way.
Does the phrase squatters' rights ever come up?
A lot. Because he eventually stops paying rent and bankrupts everybody he's involved with. I don't want to call her gullible, but she's definitely naive. She's a college student first year. Again, same situation. She needed a roommate bad. This guy just happened to be there. He moves in and immediately starts stealing her shit from the dining room, takes the dining room table and a bunch of chairs, and then she has to negotiate to get 2 of the 4 chairs back, despite the fact she should have all her chairs back. And then for whatever reason, she decides, I know what I'm going to do. This guy gets really irritated by noise, so I'm just going to I'm going to have everybody come over. I'm just going to throw a party. And I was like,
I've seen this one as well.
Do you think is going to happen here? What? How do you think this is going to end? By the way, this is how it ends. Eventually, it's 4 a.m. and everyone's like, I'm really tired, man. I'd love to stay. I want to go home now. The party's over, kid. And then guess what? The guy gets so agitated that the cops, once everyone does leave, she decides to taunt him one more time, and then the guy's slamming the door on her arm, so it's she's just her arm's getting all fucked up, and the cops have to come by, and then that's the only way they were able to arrest him.
Doesn't he kill someone's cat at some point?
He steals someone's cat or claims ownership to it, and then just lets it die.
Tomato. But another show I've been discovered. It's not so it's called Shark Tank. It's a great show. I grew up, so there's an English version called Dragon's Den. It's the same show. It's just obviously more British accents. But there was one, I was watching it last night, and this guy who was so desperate. So it was, where sometimes the pitch is so bad, even I'm just sitting there, I'm just picking crumbs out of my beard, and even I know this is a bad business. Wow, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get shot down by these guys. So they come into the den, or the Shark Tank, what the fuck it's called, asking for basically, I think it's $300,000 for 10% of the business. So basically, they're evaluating their business at $3 million. And then once they get questioned, their total sales to date are $2,000. And you've valued your business at $3 million? Interesting. But then, so basically, the sharks just start tearing this guy apart, and then he starts crying. And
I shouldn't laugh at that.
he goes, he's like, okay. So I guess in his brain, he's like, okay, this is not going to plan. This is not going very well. I know what I need to do. I need to, tug at their heartstrings a little bit. And so he starts crying. He goes, "Can I just tell you a story, please?" And then they're like, yeah, sure. Tell us a story. So, 10 years ago, I started getting these really bad headaches, and I got diagnosed. There's like a tumor in my brain, and it's still there to this day. And then one of the shocks, so just pretty much goes, "Excuse me, what has this got to do with anything? The business still sucks. Sorry, I'm sorry that you're going through this, but you're still not getting my money." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, that was worth a try."
So who are the personalities on the Dragon's Den? So like on Shark Tank, for those who don't know, like you got the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, you got the lady who pioneered QVC, you got the guy who does FUBU, you got another guy, I think he's just in real estate, and another guy who's just like stock investments. They call him Mr. Wonderful, and guess what? He's anything but. However, who are the personalities? Even if you don't know them by name, like I created BBC America.
There's one. The only one I got, his name is Doug Bannatyne, and he started this really ridiculous. It's basically a chain of gyms in the UK called Bannatyne's. So he has a lot of money through that. Okay. I think there was at one point there was the woman who started like some lingerie chain. Wasn't I think maybe it was IAmSoLoco. I don't know. But yeah, no one to note. And they just all have really obnoxious Cockney accents.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. Anyways, I'd be up for hitting that up. You ever watch?
They should switch it up. Do you know what they should get? They should get the British Dragons in to be pitched by the over-the-top Americans. I reckon that could be a lot of fun.
That'd be a great crossover episode. I'm surprised they haven't done anything like that already. Yeah, get on it, Mark Cuban. Get on it now. We said so. So
I mean, he's the executive producer. I saw that in the credits, and I was like, "Wait a minute! One of the sharks is also bankrolling this thing."
I think a couple of them. I think if not all of them are producers now. I might be wrong about that. Do you ever get to watch Filipino television with the in-laws?
I used to. I don't.
Okay.
Not so much anymore. Although they're hilarious. The Filipino dramas. Oh, it's.
Would you ever see any of the game shows that they would do? Like I guess, like before American Idol, they'd still have like someone just goes into the crowd and like, you look like you're ready to sing a song. Tell us your story. And then like, sorry folks, I don't speak Tagalog here, but he'd be like, yeah, like he's got terrible teeth, so I imagine it's something to do with his dental bill. He's just like, yeah. So like they said I had 39 teeth and they're all crooked and upside down. So I need immediate oral surgery, but I can't pay for it out of my own pocket. So if we do good on this show, like that would really be life changing. And all right, what are you gonna say? Like blah blah blah. Okay, 1, 2,
Bruno
3.
Mars.
Here we go.
They all sing Bruno Mars.
Yeah. I wish I had some Bruno Mars queued up in my repertoire. I was just gonna fake it, but yeah, like and then
I think he's half Filipino, so they love the shit out of Bruno Mars.
That sounds about right, actually. I've always been fascinated by those shows. I forget the name of that show, but it was on the network ABS-CBN. That's all one set of call letters. It's like wow.
Yeah, on the East Coast, I think this is we got TFC, the Filipino channel.
Okay, yeah, I know that's available on Dish Network. But I ended up seeing this like on an old stream of Justin.tv, which is no longer a thing, so I don't feel bad saying it.
One thing Filipinos love in their TV shows is wacky sound effects. I noticed that as well. Like there'll be like in this like drama, there'll be like a serious moment and be like, "Oh my god!" and then you killed my father. Oh my god! And it's all really tense, and then someone opens the door and it's like, "Boing!" It's like, wait, what? You just killed the tension there. And it's like and there'd be like some giggling. It's like, what is going on? I don't know.
The
But
tone
my
shifts from
in-laws
comedy
love
to
it.
drama.
Very quickly, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
intense close-ups.
You gotta get those close-ups.
Zooms into the face,
just like
it's
that.
like everyone's like
Unfortunately, this is an audio
reacting
show.
for like 20 seconds in a room.
Dude, are you looking forward to anything coming up in 2023? It's also kind of that doesn't roll off the tongue that well. 2023.
Christmas, that'd be nice.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. Going for the long con on this one.
What's gonna be interesting in
Only 363 shopping days left.
Yeah, I've got a plan.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick to it this year, right? So here's my secret little plan.
Break it down. Don't tell
Always
everybody.
what I do. I always get to around Christmas, like end of November, early December, and I'm like, fuck, I've got buddies' gifts. Oh, it's gonna be an expensive month. And I always like freak out kind of a little bit. So what I'm gonna do, starting next paycheck, right? Because really, so I'm gonna take out. So every paycheck, I'm gonna take out $20 in cash.
There you go.
From my bank account, and I'm gonna stick it in a little secret box.
All right.
I'm gonna do that every paycheck. So once Christmas comes around, obviously it won't be exactly 52 weeks because now it's after Christmas. I'm starting it, but I'll have close to like $500 to sit in there, and then it's a good head start.
It's a good head
start.
There you go.
Less
That's
stress. For Christmas. That's my only New Year's resolution that I'm confident I can stick to.
Okay, that's not a bad resolution either. As far as New Year's resolutions, I would like to curb the drinking a little bit, if not a lot. Yeah, I think things have gotten wildly out of control for me. Not to where obviously would never get in a car and it's not affecting work or nothing. But I'm just like, there's a little more than this is a lot more what I should be doing than anyone should be doing. So, but that's just me. Those are my boundaries. I used to have a resolution like I'm going to work 52 days this year, and then I ended up surpassing that and like getting up to 60, and then the pandemic hit. But I think I might have surpassed 60 this year. I have to go through all my notes. I have to go through pay stubs and find that out, and then whatever number that was, beat that number. So there you go. Work more than I did last year. Drink less.
I mean, I guess that sounds like a grown-up thing to do.
We don't have to quit drinking, but we just have to drink less.
Sure. As I take a sip out of my loud, I think this is a Thai beer. For those Korean beer, South Korea.
Ooh.
For those keeping score at home.
Okay.
This is a very expensive beer as well.
What's it called?
Cloud, Kloud, spelled with K because it's cool. Yeah, I just went into we was hosting a Korean barbecue night, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for a beer run. Why not? Let's get some Korean beer to go with our Korean food. Makes sense. And we have like a large Korean demographic in this area, so I was like, okay, there's bound to be at least one, if not more, like proper Korean owned liquor store. And first one I found, boom, I'm going there because they're going to have some Korean beers. So I went in there, excuse me, have you got a Korean beer that I could purchase? And they pointed me to this one because they saw me for what I am, and that's a sucker who doesn't really care to take notes. So I went there, 24, pack of 24, boom, that's enough. Should I ask how much this potentially imported beer will be? No, that's a stupid thing to do, Mike. So I just grab this 24 pack, take it to the front desk, and I just get my card ready because I just want to boop and then get the hell out of here. And they was like, oh, that'll be $64, please. And I went boop, and I was like, wait, what? For 24 beers, $64?
Wow. That import.
And
That import.
and then at that point, I've got that pride in me. I'm not going back. I'm not asking for a refund. I'm not going on because that's too much. I'm not going. So I was, oh God, okay, here I go. I hope this beer's good because that's my worst nightmare. Spending $64, 24 beers, and they taste terrible.
Oh, yeah, that would be the worst. I prefer a good Japanese beer. I don't think I've ever had a Korean beer, but like Asahi is really good. Asahi you can drink
Asahi is
warm
very
or
good.
cold, strangely, but I prefer Kirin Ichiban. That's or Kirin anything even. So
Sapporo, is that Japanese or is that?
Sapporo, very good. Yeah, that comes in that tall silver can, slender
Yeah,
silver can.
it looks like a bubba keg.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Like, it looks like one of those things that people carry their coffee around in the morning.
Yes. Yes. Hold
So
on. They literally look like one of these things. This is not a Sapporo can, but it is a
yeah,
coffee tumbler.
exactly. So you can walk around in the morning with your Sapporo can, and people just think there's a guy trying to wake up today. He's a go-getter. He's looking to get his day started. Where I'm like, nope, day off. I'm drinking Sapporo at 9 a.m.
I'm secretly jealous of the people who can walk around with those water bottles or even the metal coffee tumblers. 'Cause I don't want to hold another thing all fucking day long. Like I don't want to take it with me to work. I don't want to take it back home. Like I don't want to have to keep my I already have to keep I already have to keep an eye on my cell phone. I don't want to keep my eye on another thing. You know.
Like before you leave, you have to, have I got my phone? Have I got my wallet? Have I got my
Got my
water
sunglasses
container?
or my
Have I got my
container.
coffee keg? By the time you're done all that, it's might as well just sleep over and start your day again.
Right.
Ridiculousness.
Oh, you know me, Mike Fish. You know me. I think this is a good spot. Like we did it, dude. We got to the end of the year. It's December 30th. I'm looking forward to more microdoses in 2023. I'm definitely looking forward to more of the original Waffle Box, except no substitutions because it's the best part of Wednesdays.
Yep. Don't go to the Waffle Box because those sons of bitches stole the name. I'll call them out. I don't give a shit. How dare you? How dare you? Like after Waffle Box was created by my good self and Mr. Hayes, you're going to create a podcast called Waffle Box, but then say, "Oh, there's already a podcast called Waffle Box." You know what we'll call it? We'll call it the Waffle Box podcast. Go fuck yourself. Like, who are these people? Like, that the Ohio State or whatever it is. Obnoxious pricks.
I can tell you there are already several other microdose podcasts. I think there's one that might be a challenge to like who's been there the longest, but I don't even think they do anything anymore. But like, yeah, like of the six other podcasts out there, they burn out real quickly. One guy actually had maybe the best definition of microdose, and he didn't record a thing longer than 5 minutes. He had like 15 episodes, but they're all like 3 minutes long, 5 minutes. I think he was just doing a little meditative exercises, and just like you can listen along. I'm just gonna talk real slow like this, and hope you have a really great day.
ASMR shit,
something like that. Yeah.
Have you ever get into that concept where they just like get some microphone and start like what do you?
I did not hear you scratching whatever that was you were scratching. Your microphone's really good about killing that noise. Yeah, it's like,
I know.
We're not having that.
I wouldn't be able to be an ASMR host, apparently.
So the ASMR, like when it's just people whispering like this, like I don't really mind that at all. But like when we get into like people just intentionally chewing food into the microphone or just making a sound like what you were trying to attempt there 2 times, like that shit pisses me off. Like again, we got earbuds in, folks. Like you were literally inside my brain. It doesn't feel good. It's not a pleasant sound. But we might as well just yell into the microphone too, and not edit it out.
Be a really good idea for a podcast. So we could like get the cross demographic of like sports fans and ASMR people, and just have we can like hire some really sexy woman with a sexy
Oh, I like
voice.
this. Okay.
And just be like, so this week, Jacksonville Jaguars beat the New York Jets 19-3. And just go through the scores. And that'd be the podcast. Like just some really sexy sounding woman reading sports scores.
Is she
I
gonna
reckon
let
that'd be
out an
popular.
occasional little moan when like her team wins, like and the
Or
Dallas Cowboys won or something like that? I don't do a sexy lady moan.
Kirk Cousins with 3 interceptions.
That's pretty good, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This week, I'm suggesting you take the under. I know you like to get on top, but bet the under.
Oh my goodness. I haven't had a drink the whole episode, folks. We're already this silly. So that's just how we get down. I guess we don't no stimulants required here. Speaking of drinking, folks, again, it's New Year's Eve. Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything in driving. Take an Uber, take a Lyft, take a friend. Stay home. Stay the fuck home. You don't need to go out. Like, you're just gonna catch COVID again, stupid. Like, stay home. All right, just have fun. And you know, I don't know, throw some loose change at the door at midnight or something. I don't know what you guys do. But don't drink and drive is all I'm asking. Stay out of jail. Don't murder anybody. It's not hard.
You know, not that Microdose is sponsored by these people, but you know, it's whack on NBC. You got Dolly Parton hosting New Year's Eve this year, apparently.
Ooh. All right. Why not? Yeah. Drop the ball with Dolly. Dolly's dropping the ball on NBC.
Like that woman, Dolly Parton, I don't know what voodoo she's in, but she definitely aged physically. You can see she's getting older. But I feel she aged up until about like the mid-90s, where she started to look old, and then she just stopped.
Oh, gotcha.
She looks exactly the same as she did like 20 years ago. Like she's definitely like, what is she now? Like 112, but she looks amazing.
Rude. No, I think she's over 70. Between 70 and 80. I'm not 100% sure. It's not 112.
She's closer to my guess than 0, so you know, we'll call it a crapshoot.
Fair enough. All right, buddy. You want to give out your Twitter handles?
No.
Okay. You can follow Mike Fish on the YouTube at the Waffle Box Pod. He also does Claret and Big Blue, the only podcast about the New York Football Giants and West Ham United.
Correct. Yeah. Woo.
As for me, you already heard it. Listen to the Waffle Box every Wednesday. It's on YouTube, it's on Stitcher, Spotify, all the streaming platforms, audio and video, and you can find it at thebosnet.family. Big thanks to everybody who's a part of everything this year. Your little sister Hayes, your Jameel Hemphills, your Len Kabazinskis, your Mike Fishes, your Robin Setos, your kind of guys, everybody that's been a part of the Bosnet family. Thank you so much for another year, and looking forward to another year. Here we come, 2023, for only Mike Fish. I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the Bosnet family.
The Murder Channel. It's hilarious.